forecast first from KARK, your weather authority.
The threat of severe weather sweeping across the state throughout the day. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight at 6. I'm Bob Clausen.
And I'm Ashley Ketz. No doubt we've enjoyed the warm spring-like temperatures today, but it's also bringing with it the threat of some severe weather. Because we are your weather authority, KARK4 Chief Meteorologist Keith Monahan has the latest now. Keith.
Well, the good news, Bob and Ashley, is that the National Weather Service has canceled the tornado watch that was in effect for northeast and east central Arkansas. That severe thunderstorm watch is still in effect until 8 o'clock officially for Ashley on into Chico counties. Now, the only areas with thunderstorms right now are generally running around from Phillips County on southward into parts of Deshae County, a couple of showers in Ashley County, and a few showers and thunderstorms over parts of Chico County. They'll continue to move off to the east as we head through the next hour or so. But strong winds are continuing behind that cold front, and those winds could gust as high as 40 miles per hour for the next couple of hours. That wind advisory in effect until 7 o'clock this evening. Threat of severe weather all but over for Arkansas. We'll continue to see those skies clear overnight tonight. Breezes will come down. It'll be colder. By morning, we're down to 35. We'll have your forecast in just a couple minutes.
All right, Keith, thank you very much. The Arkansas Senate says yes to funding healthcare expansion, but a much different story on the opposite side of the Capitol. KARK4's David Goins is joining us live at the state Capitol, where the private option not able to clear the House just yet. You know, and I had a conversation with the Speaker prior to the session beginning, pretty confident this thing would pass, but I'm sure he's a little more than peeved that it hasn't gone through already, Dave.
Well, at this point, Bob, he says he is still confident, but after 3 failed votes, indeed, the House will return here on Friday for a 4th attempt to get this funding bill for Medicaid expansion passed. Now, earlier in the week, a minority of Republicans in the House and Senate did offer what they called alternatives to the private option. Each of those included a clause to end Medicaid expansion next year. With little support for those ideas, the effort was dropped in the Senate, and the private option did pass today in the Senate. The House, a tougher sell, needing 75 votes. It only picked up 72. House Speaker David Carter thinks they could get there and might get there tomorrow. But Governor Beebe says the longer this goes on, the greater the risk that something could change.
Of course, that's always a concern. I mean, you know, somebody could get hurt in a car wreck. I mean, there are always those kind of concerns when something's this close. Sure, absolutely.
So even though it appears the votes are getting there, as the governor alluded to, no guarantee. So the House will vote again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. If the spending bill is approved, essentially the majority of the lion's share of the work for this budget session will be complete, and it could wrap up in a few weeks. If not, a more protracted battle could be on tap. Live at the state capitol, David Goins, KARK4 News.
All right, David, thank you very much. Keep an eye on it.
KARK4 is your local election headquarters. The mayor of Heber Springs making his run for Congress official today. Mayor Jackie McPherson says he wants to challenge incumbent U.S. Representative Rick Crawford for the 1st District congressional seat. He says he wants to bring results to Arkansas. KARK4's Dustin Barnes joins us with what McPherson's run will mean for the election cycle.
Yeah, Ashley, Heber Springs Mayor Jackie McPherson says his opponent is part of the partisan gridlock in Washington, and he does not represent Arkansas. Political strategist believes the midterm elections this cycle make Arkansas voters a hard electorate to predict.
Vicki and I are very proud today to announce my candidacy for U.S. Congress in the 1st District.
Heber Springs Mayor Jackie McPherson makes his run official with the throng of supporters behind him. He touted his ability to bring results as mayor as a glimpse into his possible leadership as a member of Congress.
I bring that work ethic, that ability to bring people together. As mayor, being able to find that common ground to move our community forward. I'll take that same attitude and that same approach in Washington.
Mayor Jackie McPherson fits the model that Arkansas Democrats are going for this year.
Talk business blogger Michael Cook says Democrats are highlighting candidates whom the average Arkansan can relate to, but they also have experience working across party lines.
A devoted patriot, my friend.
Republicans, though, still have the advantage, successfully linking Democrats to President Barack Obama and his policies.
And I think what we are seeing is Arkansas is now a competitive two-party state where both parties have to give a clear message of why they think their candidate should win.
McPherson is aware of the hard campaign ahead of him, especially since he's running against an incumbent. He says he has to hit the ground running.
I think when the people of the 1st District find out what I'm about, they'll rally behind that.
And Cook says Arkansas is no longer a one-party state, so every candidate has a real chance to win if their message sticks with voters. In a statement, Crawford says that he looks forward to another issues-based election to continue to earn the trust of Arkansas voters. Bob and Ashley?
Dustin, thanks. And now to a KARK4 News update. A federal grand jury charges a man with kidnapping resulting in death nearly 1 year after the victim was found dead in the trunk of a car. The grand jury says this man, 38-year-old Kevin Bolton, intentionally killed 20-year-old Cassie Carter. Carter died in North Carolina a week after her mother had reported her missing from Gurdon, Arkansas. Officials say her body was found in the trunk of a stolen car which Bolton was driving. The U.S. Attorney's Office says Bolton will remain in jail until the trial. If found guilty, he could face life in prison or the death penalty.
$1 million bond has been reduced for a man accused of killing a girl after firing into a car full of teenagers. Today, Willie Noble appeared in court where his lawyer asked for a bond reduction. It was lowered to $500,000. He's facing capital murder charges in connection to the shooting death of Adrian Broadway during an egging prank at Noble's home over the weekend. The funeral, by the way, for Broadway is scheduled for this weekend. Her funeral is set for Saturday, February 22nd at 11 a.m. at the Greater Macedonia Baptist Church. That's located at 600 East 24th Street.
And the funeral date we now know has been set for a Star City football player who died yesterday after a long, hard-fought battle. Zach Towers collapsed on the field during a game back in November of 2012. His visitation will be tomorrow from 5 to 8 p.m. at the First Baptist Church of Star City. The funeral for Zach Towers will be Saturday at 1 p.m. at the same church.
A man who dedicated his life to helping the homeless passed away early this morning after suffering a heart attack. Dennis Beavers did what he did because community mattered a great deal to him. KARK4's Melissa Schroeder is live in the studio with a special dedication to Mr. Beavers, someone you met some time ago.
Yeah, that's right, Bob. I had the honor of meeting Dennis Beavers last month, and he was helping me out on a story. That's what Dennis does. He helps people literally all the time.
You need a coat? No clothes or nothing. All right, well, we can help you out with that.
This video was taken just a couple weeks ago. We interviewed Dennis Beavers.
Our philosophy is they are still all God's babies.
For a story about panhandlers.
Try it out.
He ran an organization called SOAR Network, an outreach that brought people together to help the homeless.
Hey, man, what you need, brother?
During our conversation, a man asked Dennis for help.
That look kind of small, man. What size you wear?
So he gave him a coat and other clothing, a true show of Dennis's character. Elizabeth Evans met Dennis in November, and he changed her life. I was just going to ask you where you think you would be right now if he didn't help.
Honestly, I have no idea.
Elizabeth, just one of hundreds Dennis helped. Because he kept his doors open to the homeless 24 hours a day.
Probably one of the biggest things that he taught me was to never be afraid to help anyone at any time.
Aaron Redden, another local homeless advocate, knew Dennis for years and, like many others, called him a friend.
He's a great, great guy and a huge, huge piece of the puzzle of our battle against homelessness here.
Dennis Beavers.
That's one of the things we try to do is light that spark, you know, to let them really believe that it can be better for me.
A warrior for the homeless.
Not many of us really step up like that.
A healer for the hurting, proving one person really can make a difference. He will certainly be missed, and a special memorial will be held for Dennis Beavers at 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon under the Broadway Bridge. A very special place because that's where Dennis went to help a lot of people in this community. Guys, back to you.
All right, Melissa, thank you very much. A Native American tribe is talking about the future of a major purchase in Pulaski County.
The Quapaw tribe recently bought the land near the Little Rock Port Authority, and although leaders say they don't have plans to develop it right now, they are not ruling out anything, including the possibility of a casino there. And tonight, after the Olympics, the tribe will talk more about the future of this property and why they think there has been a lot of speculation about building a casino in Little Rock.
Coming up, take a look at that. The Olympics are a time when we send the best to compete for courage and Olympic gold. Still to come, we profile an Arkansan with courage who lives by the quote, "Let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt."
And a strong cold front triggering showers and thunderstorms. Some of those severe over southern and eastern Arkansas. The severe threat has all but ended. But ahead of that front, we warmed up a lot today. 79 degrees a high temperature. But we're cooling off quickly. 59 is our low for the day and current temperature. We're down to 30s for tonight. But what's in store for the end of the work week and the weekend? We'll let you know in a couple minutes.
From the station that brings you local news that matters, this is KARK 4 News at 6 in high definition. With Bob Clausen, Ashley Katz, Chief Meteorologist Keith Monahan, and Aaron Peters with your Razorback Nation report. KARK 4 News, brought to you by